On their quest to remake old animated classics and turn them into live-action movies, Disney is again finding themselves on the receiving end of some severe internet backlash. On their official YouTube channel, the new Peter Pan and Wendy trailer just dropped. To say that the internet is not too happy about this would be an understatement. Since the launch of the Peter Pan and Wendy trailer, fans have been flocking to the comments section to voice their displeasure. Peter Pan and Wendy is set to release on Disney Plus in April. For the casting, Alexander Molony and Ever Anderson will be taking the roles of Peter Pan and Wendy as the titled characters. Captain Hook will be portrayed by Jude Law, while Alan Tudyk will be taking on the role of Mr. Darling. Tinkerbell, who is causing the most controversy right now, will be played by Yara Shahidi. On the director's chair will be David Lowery, who has been tasked with bringing this imaginary island of Neverland to life. Just like with The Little Mermaid starring Halle Bailey, the backlash against Peter Pan and Wendy is expected. The film completely overhauls the original, and sadly it falls into every trap from previous live actions. There is a reason why people are so obsessed with animated series and movies. It creates a fantasy world and captures magic unlike anything else. For many years Disney has understood this and stood atop the mountain of animation alone. Sadly, these days that magic has long since left the company. Now a shell of its former self in terms of quality, Disney is holding on for dear life as critics rip them apart. Not only can live-action films not capture the magic of the original animation, but they also fall far short in many other aspects. Like with the CGI in The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan and Wendy suffer from a similar problem. Although not plagued by bad CGI, the film does need more lighting. The entire trailer is riddled with darkness. This is a far contrast from what we are used to with the animated Peter Pan movie. The actual casting is another big point of contention. The Lost Boys in this film are no longer boys. With girls now part of the Lost Boys group, many felt like it took away from the original. For me, this was a small change and one that I personally do not mind. Based on the trailer, I believe the movie has much deeper problems than a few girls dressed as Lost Boys. Before we get to those problems, we will probably have to address the biggest elephant in the room. Disney decided that with Peter Pan and Wendy, they will be following a recent trend of swapping the skin color of a leading actor. Yara Shahidi will be making the role of Tinkerbell her own. Up until the announcement of this live action, Tinkerbell has always been portrayed as white. Alexander Molony, the titled character of Peter Pan, is of course also of mixed race descent. As one can imagine, this did not sit very well with those who are not in favor of race-swapping characters. One of the only main characters to keep their original race is Captain Hook. In typical internet fashion, this of course also received pushback. Many felt that they kept Captain Hook white in order to drive the point of evil white men home. Of course, if they were to have swapped him, that would have also been a problem. Personally, for me, I will say the same thing every time when it comes to the debate of race swapping. I believe inclusion and diversity are important. Although I know that Disney only does this to pander, if it means more representation, then I am fine with it. I stated this in yesterday's piece as well, but I have a long list of things that I believe make a movie bad. The race or sex of a character does not reflect on that list. My criteria for a movie are simple. Just write a good script and cast good actors. Everything will fall into place after that. With that said, it is just my personal opinion, one that you are allowed to disagree with. Disagreeing with this take does not make you a racist. The topic of race swapping is a complicated one for many. A big argument for those against race swapping always comes down to one simple thing. Why can't you just create a new IP? You have classic characters. They come in all races, all colors, and all sexes. Leave them as is and create new characters. Unfortunately, the topic of race swapping is complicated and there are no easy answers. Creating new IPs with strong black or gay leads is definitely worth exploring. It is also something already happening. Disney recently released a new IP, Strange World. The lead character, Ethan Clade, played by Jabberwocky Young White, is black and gay. As you can imagine, the film was dismissed as a woke disaster. Once again, the problems for this movie did run deeper than people simply not liking a black or gay character. But the point is, new IPs do exist. The second argument is always to recreate strong black or female leads from the past, instead of race swapping. Movies and series with strong black leads have always existed. From Wesley Snipes' Blade to Halle Berry as Storm from the X-Men. Black-led firms are there. The question becomes, why can't existing IPs become more inclusive as well? The answer to that question will come down to your feelings on the topic. I cannot tell you how to feel, so, therefore, I do not have a clear answer for you. Unfortunately, all I have to offer is my own opinion. When it comes to Disney, everyone knows where their values lie. Most people by this point hopefully know that Disney does not stand for any social issues. Their interest solely lies in the profit margins. The moment that gets affected, you will see how quickly they threw social issues out the window. You do not need to look any further than the recent Buzz Lightyear movie starring Chris Evans. They had a lesbian couple in the movie. The moment some religious nations voiced their displeasure, Disney was quick to remove it. One of the most famous examples is John Boyega in Star Wars. Disney was quick to use him in the West, but the moment China said no thank you, they shrunk him down on the posters quicker than you can blink. Large corporations like these are sadly never on your side. All you can do is hope that you are part of the group they happen to pander to this time. At the end of the day, race swapping will continue to happen. You will have those who do not mind and you will have those aggressively pushing back. Some will argue in good faith and others will argue in bad. It will be disingenuous to pretend that some critics of race swapping were not deeply shallow over their reason. Although some just want IPs to stay untouched, there is a small group of losers who simply have a meltdown every time they see a black or gay person. This might represent a small portion of the fan base, but for the actors stuck in the middle of those comments, it can be touchy. On the other hand, you have those standing ready to call you every bad name in the book for the crime of not liking a movie or series. They will deflect any criticism and simply label it toxic fans. Ultimately, more diverse casting for existing IPs is set to continue and only you can decide whether you will be supporting it or not.